Alright, so this video we're going to solve an equation with square root in it. So I've got four problems I'm working. This is example 3. This is the video for example 3. Each problem has its own video. This is the problem I worked in example 1. This is the problem I worked in example 2. And this is the problem we'll work in this video. And this will be the problem we work in example 4 video. Alright, so let's come over here to example 3 and see what we've got. So whenever we're solving a equation that's got a square root in it, we want to isolate the square root. Well, in this one we have two square roots. Well, isolate one of them. Alright, so let's do that. So I'm going to isolate this one, so I'm going to add square root of x minus 2 to both sides. Okay, so that's going to give me the square root of 2x minus 3 equals the square root of x minus 2 plus 1. Alright, so I've isolated this one. Now what we want to do is we want to square both sides. Alright, so square both sides. Alright, so whenever you square a square root, you get what's underneath the square root. So this will give us 2x minus 3 equals. Now this one, well, let's write this out. This is the square root of x minus 2 plus 1 squared. So remember, that's the square root of x minus 2 plus 1 times the square root of x minus 2 plus 1. So I have to FOIL this out. So that's going to give me 2x minus 3 equals, now let's FOIL this. Multiply the first, square root of x minus 2 times square root of x minus 2 is just x minus 2. And then square root of x minus 2 times 1 is square root of x minus 2. And then 1 times square root of x minus 2 is square root of x minus 2. And then the last 1 times 1 is 1. All I did was FOIL it. First, outside, inside, last. Now let's combine like terms here. So I get 2x minus 3 equals x plus, now look at this. This is 1 square root of x minus 2 plus 1 square root of x minus 2. So that's going to give me 2 square root of x minus 2. Okay, and then I've got negative 2 plus 1 is negative 1. Alright, now look at this. I've still got a radical in there. So what are we going to do? Well, we're going to isolate this radical now. So let's subtract x to both sides and add 1 to both sides. So that's going to give me x minus 2 equals 2 times square root of x minus 2. Alright, now remember we said let's isolate the radical. Now this is, pay attention here. So I've got 2 times this. Now what I could do is I could divide both sides by 2. And if I do that, that would give me this. Okay? And then if I square both sides, okay, I'm squaring, I've got a fraction. We don't like working with fractions. So let's do this. I'm not going to divide both sides by 2. Because this 2 is multiplied to the square root, what I can do is I can just go ahead and square both sides like this. Okay? So let's look at this. Remember, this is x minus 2 times x minus 2. Okay? So I've got to FOIL this out. So that's going to be x times x is x squared. X times minus 2 is minus 2x, plus minus 2x is minus 4x, and negative 2 times negative 2 is plus 4. Now, look at this. Now I want you to notice the difference. Here I squared both sides. And see how there's a plus sign here? So I had to FOIL it. But this is multiplied. Whenever you have terms multiplied, you just raise each one of these to this exponent outside. So look at this. 2 squared is what? 4. And then square root of x minus 2 squared is just x minus 2. Okay, so that's this right hand side. And see, we could do that because we didn't have to divide by 2 and deal with fractions. We just left the 2 here, and we could do that because it's multiplied. Okay, alright, so now let's distribute the 4. So that's going to be x squared minus 4x plus 4 equals, and that's going to be 4x minus 8. Yeah. Alright, so now let's subtract 4x to both sides, and let's add 8 to both sides. And so that's going to give me x squared minus 8x plus 12 equals 0. Alright. So now let's see. Hopefully this thing factors. Let's see. X minus 2 minus 6. Alright. So I've got x minus 2 equals 0, or x minus 6 equals 0. Add 2 to both sides, I get x equals 2. Add 6 to both sides, I get x equals 6. Now, remember, if you square both sides, okay, raise both sides to an even number, you have to check your solutions. So we have to take each one of these values here, and we have to plug them back in to the original. Okay, always take it and plug it back into the original equation. So let's come over here and let's check our solutions. Okay, if you raise both sides to an odd number like a 3, 5, or 7, you don't have to check your solution. You can, but when you do, it should work every time if you worked it correctly. So I guess I would say, if you're in doubt of checking the solution or not, just check it. That's the safest thing to do. So let's plug the 2 in for x. So I get the square root of 2 times 2 minus 3 minus the square root of 2 minus 2, and I need to know, does that equal 1? Well, let's look at this. This is 4 minus 3 is 1. The square root of 1 is 1. This is what? 2 minus 2 is 0. Square root of 0 is 0. And we can see 1 equals 1. That checks. So x equals 2. That's a solution. Now let's try the x equals 6. So let's plug that in. I get 2 times 6 minus 3 minus square root of 6 minus 2, and I need to know, does that equal 1? So this is what? 12. 2 times 6 is 12. 12 minus 3 is 9. The square root of 9 is 3. 6 minus 2 is 4. Square root of 4 is 2. And so I get 1 equals 1. Well, look at that. They both worked in this problem. So both solutions work. So I've got to answer x equals 2, x equals 6. Both worked. Hope the video helped. Give me a like, share, and subscribe. Check out my other videos, and thanks for watching.